Yeah. Jeez.
Facebook world. Today our topic is bigorexia.
Big gore?
Bigorexia.
Bigorexia. What is bigorexia?
Well, you tell me, love. What is bigorexia? Oh, wait, but first, I want to say if you are hopping on, please like and subscribe to our channel. Please share the information if you think it's going to help other people as well. Because there is a topic here that is pretty much mental health related.
Yes, and bigorexia is topic of conversation today. Yeah, I'm taking that off because of the crazy glare I'm getting off the car across the street, but maybe they're leaving, so that should help. Anyways, bigorexia. This is a phenomenon I also know to be termed as the Adonis complex.
I've never heard of that one.
Okay.
Adonis complex.
The Adonis complex. Basically, Adonis, if you could look into Greek times, super beautiful dude. Basically super conceited, and I believe he gets trapped in his own image in some way or fashion. Also, I think the story of Narcissian draws from that as well, where Narcissian looks at his own image in the water, and he's so captivated by his own reflection that he falls in and drowns. So this is the image of somebody who has extreme beauty, but also extreme vanity.
I guess you could say that it's like that, but I think from what I understood about bigorexia, it's not really. It's kind of vanity, but that becomes.
It's obsessive compulsive vanity, essentially.
Okay, so bigorexia is basically someone who wants to get, as the word says, bigger all the time.
Well, we could say bigger, but also in the Adonis complex, which I would really term it as, it's not just about getting big, but sometimes it's about getting ripped, getting shredded.
Yes, which is why it's in the bodybuilding industry.
Right. So, I mean, big is a part of it, and that's a big part of it, but getting shredded is just as dangerous. So in the bodybuilding industry, and this is something that she's talking about, we were watching a documentary called Bigorexia, which led down a rabbit hole of a bunch of questions and just my experience within the bodybuilding industry and trying to get bigger. Oh, excuse me. You might not be able to tell it right now, but at one point I was significantly heavier than I am now.
And which was?
I used to walk around closer to 215, 220.
And at that time, where were you? Were you in a state of? Well, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I know. Just let me finish. Can I get a name then? Anyways, so I walked around somewhere around 215, 220. And the obsession was to gain as much muscle mass as possible, to get as big as possible, really to fill some void in my own self. And I think that's where this really stems from for a lot of people, is there's an insecurity that is trying to be fulfilled through this, attaining this goal, whether it's getting ripped, whether it's getting bigger, whatever. But there's a longing that you don't feel as though you are enough, so you have to continue to try and become enough, and enough is never enough in this case, and that's where people take extremes and they go to much bigger levels, much more than they should, and they begin to affect their own health, not just eating unhealthily, but injecting all kinds of chemicals into their body and taking on synthetic hormones and stuff that just leads to long-term decay. Or really for these guys, a shortened decay, because you might give out naturally somewhere around 80 or 90 years old, but what we're seeing now actually is an epidemic of bodybuilders who are dying early. And we're talking about guys and girls dying in their 20s, 30s, and 40s when they should be, they look amazing, but they're dropping dead of heart disease and all these different kind of things that the drugs are making much worse.
Okay, so let's backtrack because where were you before, and why did you get to that position? That's what I would like for people to connect with you is, why did you decide to take up bodybuilding anyway?
I don't necessarily know why I decided to take up bodybuilding. I mean, I've always been obsessed with getting bigger, and I think that's just something that you raised up on 80s movies and Arnold Schwarzenegger and a lot of males, and the obsession is to get to that size. But when you join into a sport like bodybuilding, or you're in that sphere, you really start to do things that are to gain the extra advantage, and they can be very detrimental to your health. And a lot of times you weigh out your risk and you weigh out your reward, and you have a skewed view. A lot of people go down the wrong path. They take synthetic hormones. Actually, when I was deployed, and I never actually purchased any, but I was tempted because you could look within the newspaper that was published in the base all the time, and they had steroids that you can buy in the newspaper on base.
Oh, really?
While I was deployed. Yeah, it was. It's
so
totally
it's not...
fine for soldiers to. It's a performance enhancer.
Okay,
so they don't care that you're going to take it because you're there to fight a war and to perform. You're not there to live till you're 80 years old.
So they were not helping you in that position when you were in the mode. Now, you were desiring to get bigger at that time, but were you competing? Apparently not, because you were
because I was deployed. But I mean, when you're deployed, which I was when I was at my heaviest. When you're deployed, you have a lot of time on your hands to gain a lot of mass, and you have a lot of time to work out and eat very well, because you have a 24-hour dining facility.
Okay, so during that time, you were over 200 pounds when you were in the military. You got out. So what made you join bodybuilding?
I mean, I was drawn in just like anybody else with the idea of, being this uber fit dude that walking around and people could, admire my physique, and I would admire my physique and have something to be proud of. And I did attain a level of that. I never got as big as I wanted to get, and I think that's part of bigorexia. But I attained a level of that, and some of the pictures that people have commented on when they see me on stage, I'm actually at my most unhealthy in those pictures. And that's not something that is long term, that's not something sustainable, and that's not something I want to continue to put my body through.
So what did you put your body through when you were in bodybuilding?
When you're in bodybuilding, one, if you choose to go the natural route, obviously you're still going to experience what you would with the enhanced route, except the enhanced route you get a lot more muscle in a lot more quicker time, but you still have to go through all the drudges of how you have to work out like crazy. Your recovery has to be on point. I'm sorry, I got lost.
What else did you put yourself through when you were going through bodybuilding?
Oh, when you're going into a show, the dieting, the deprivation, and the cutting are the worst. Cutting down for a show is really bad, and that's another issue that I've had to go through with cutting down for fighting. When you get down and you're dehydrating and you're going to the sauna and then you're limiting your water intake, you're actually messing with your blood pressure, you're doing all kinds of things. There have been guys who have gone into seizures or passed out on stage and died.
So what happened to you?
I've actually passed out. I passed out in the sauna. I actually passed out at a friend's house. So I mean, it's not good for you.
And what about your mental health? When you were at that point, you were competing. What was going on with your mental health?
I mean, it becomes an obsession. So everything else, your world revolves around it, and there's not really room for anything else or anyone else.
So basically, how many hours did you spend in the gym? Like, you were in the gym every day?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've done 2 a days. There's been times where I did 3 a days. So like, I'd get up 4 a.m., hit the gym, then go to work. Right after work, hit the gym, go eat dinner, hit the gym. Yeah, so it's unhealthy.
Okay, and so where was Christ at the time?
Nowhere. Well, he was there, but you know.
You had already accepted Jesus?
He was over there, not yet.
Okay, so you knew of Jesus, but he wasn't really first?
No.
Gotcha. Okay. So you weren't truly walking with the Lord. Now, when did it all stop for you? Why did the bodybuilding industry kind of leave your life?
Because I saw how it wasn't going to be sustainable long term. When you pass out at your friend's house on the toilet and your blood pressure drops down to 27/40, 27/40, something's got to change. So that's what it was.
Okay, I don't know how accurate that blood pressure is.
It was an electronic blood pressure cuff. It dropped to 27/40.
Well, so after that you decided to not continue?
Yes.
So that moment was the breaking point?
Yes, or in those dehydrated moments, you're going to the bathroom late at night, and this happened to me. I got dizzy, I fell down in the kitchen, and I could not get up. I sweated profusely for about 40 minutes, and I thought I was going to die. Seriously. You go through some stuff like that, muscles don't matter anymore.
So at this moment, you decided, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is just way too much. At that time, did you realize, do you think it was a sin? Do you think it was something that, you needed to let go? Was it an idol? I mean, was that maybe even a thought? Or no?
No, it wasn't a thought. I'll be honest, it wasn't a thought.
So as you continued on and you started kind of just eating better.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the holistic route is better, and I've talked to a lot of guys who are much older than me who have been lifting for a long time. They're in their 60s and they look amazing. And you ask them what they do, and really they do the same routine every single time they go into the gym. They're just consistent and they eat the same things. They just do the same behaviors over and over. And they keep it simple and keep it natural. And that's really what I saw as the big differentiator. You could be a Ronnie Coleman and get both of your hips replaced and get your knees replaced and get a shoulder replaced or whatever, and jack up your back from deadlifting or squatting, or you could be functional and you could be able to move well in your 60s and 70s and enjoy your life.
So where can you define a moment where you realized functional health became something that you wanted to focus on, even for as a career, as a personal trainer? Because in fitness, there's a lot of people that want to get bigger, and a lot of personal trainers. I mean, you've had people come up to you and say, hey, I want to get bigger. How do I get shredded? Mm-hmm. And then you have people that say, hey, I just want to work out and have a better quality of life. Is there a defining moment where you realized you just want to help people in the functional and quality of life spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't get into the bigorexia, which was the main topic.
Right.
But I would say when I was working out and I actually hurt my shoulder and I wasn't able to lift my arm more than 45 degrees. And, I knew it was a mobility thing and I wasn't taking care of that. And that's when I started to focus on massage and mobility and, different stretching, yoga movements, stuff like that.
So that's when you decided to just focus more on functional health. Okay. Because a lot of the people that we train is basically quality of life and functional movement, because that is basically where he has realized that is the key to this industry. It's not necessarily being the most shredded or biggest or having to win a certain contest, because as he mentioned earlier, people that are on stage doing these things are not actually the healthiest.
No, actually, when I was on stage, I was actually sick as a dog. Your immune system is down, and actually I got really, really sick. And you're walking on stage and faking a smile, and you're dehydrated, so you can't sweat. So, and actually, your cheeks start to cramp and twitch, which is a weird sensation.
So the people that you're dealing with now and you're pouring into training online and also in person, they're actually a lot healthier than people that are going through cutting and bodybuilding and reducing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Being able to move explosively in space is beneficial, but mobility is more important. Functional movement, flexibility, all of these things are important. Balance, all these things are important and are part of life. And it's not always about having the big muscle and being able to explode or being able to curl this or that. We really need to be working on the foundation of functional moves, and we need to be working on, essentially what are the 9 biggest lifts, which I'm not going to share right now.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to focus on that right now. But now that you're a Christian and truly walking with Christ, how would you say what you are doing now is honoring God versus before?
Well, what I do now is helping people become the best version of themselves. Not necessarily that I was doing anything wrong or that I wasn't doing that before, but their goals were different. The people I work with now are desiring to have a higher quality of life and being able to play with their grandkids and being able to live for the next 20 years, being able to accomplish athletic feats that they've never done. Whereas in the past, when I worked with people, it was to help them get onto a stage and, get their 5 minutes of glory at the cost of their health. And what I do now is I get people to the pinnacle of their health. So it's different.
And so what is the big lesson that you think you learned from those earlier years where you just wanted to get bigger?
Everything is profitable. Everything is illegal under the sun.
Is illegal?
Is legal.
Oh.
Everything is legal under the sun. Not all things are profitable, and especially not all things at all times are profitable. I think it was, I can't remember the writer of Tom Sawyer, but he finished a quote, and he said everything. He said everything in moderation, including moderation. And I think that right there kind of sums it up. Getting bigger muscles is part of having a healthier body, healthier lifestyle, but it's not the only thing. And the obsession with that, the obsession with the scale, if you're on the other side, like ladies want to get smaller and always obsessed with getting smaller and looking at the scale, that is not the main focus. It's how are we all around. Right. So if we get focused in this one area and obsessed about it, we're letting our guard down in another, and now we're no longer firing on all cylinders. Now we're just firing on 6 cylinders or 7 cylinders rather than all 8.
So that's a good point, because even women were part of this bigorexia documentary, but not everybody is in that same mindset. That's the other side, is the women that wants to get smaller. And I think I could probably talk to that in another live. But I'm glad that we talked about this bigorexia, because
this is actually a big thing, because this is what men are obsessed with, especially is getting bigger. That's like the number one. I want to get bigger. I want a bigger chest. I want bigger arms. Like, and none of you guys ever asked me for bigger legs, so I'm gonna convict you there.
That's funny.
You know, but this obsession with getting bigger, there's nothing wrong with getting more muscle mass. But
it's actually a good thing.
It is good. But if that's the only goal, we need to question what your motives are.
And that's where the mental health comes from, which we talked about, that people are focused more on vanity and other things. Because the documentary, there were one famous person that you were talking about, that you know his name? It was on the documentary. He was really famous. But he said that whenever he saw pictures of himself, he looked really small.
He's well, in the bodybuilding world, he's known. I wouldn't say he's famous, but it's was it Craig Goliath, and he is a mountain of a man. Like, this is a guy that's 350 pounds. I think he's somewhere around 6'7". He's a big dude, but his obsession is being big, and especially in pictures. He'll go and he'll look through pictures, and he'll pick out pictures that he thinks he looks small in, and he'll retake, and like, he's just obsessed with looking as massive as possible.
So there's a mental health issue there. And then there was a younger guy who wanted to gain popularity, and then he put in what you were saying, the oil. So there was a lot of mental health
injectable oils
things. Yeah. But the biggest picture here is to, one, glorify God with our body. And if it's focusing on ourselves, if it's focusing on you for your vanity, for the purpose of, just wanting
for looking in the mirror and being satisfied with that person,
then that's
not a sustainable mindset, and it's not a favorable one, and it's not going to lead you to success, and it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Now, if it's part of the bigger picture, then that's a different story. If what you want is to be more confident so that you can enjoy your marriage to a better degree, and you feel like you can lead better, then that's a different story. So it's all about the motivation behind what we do.
And taking care of your body for the glory of Christ.
Amen.
Because there's only one life, that you only have one body, and being able to take care of it for your functional health and quality of life, that is the main point.
Yep.
So, this was his story when we watched the bigorexia documentary. He was able to connect with it because he had background history for it. And so we wanted to share with you guys that this is reality. This is happening all around us, and we are here to help you gain more of a perspective of a healthy way of life and have better quality of life. That is, one, Christ-centered, Christ-honoring, and then two, would help you just become a better steward of your life in general. And so if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to us, and if you have any prayer requests, we would love to also connect with you and pray with you. At Iron Sharpens Iron, we always like to say,
make moves
and not excuses. What was that?
I was just going to say, also, if you're interested, Keto Start, it's amazing. We're going to go ahead and toss them out there as like a sponsor for this one, because we want to go ahead and promote Keto Start as much as possible. We want you guys to try it out. It's been an awesome product. We love using it to run.
I use it to run.
And I actually use it too for mental focus. So if I know I'm going to have some stuff where I need some brain power, that's what my go-to. So, tossing that out there. But anyways, God bless, guys. Have a great day.